Hey everybody, on this video we are going to fine tune our pulling and our bodywork on the core support for the Mustang, and then once we're done with that we'll weld our piece back in that went in behind the headlight that we had to cut out. Remember our little access panel? We wanted to cut that out so we could push that inner structure back out where it needed to be. We'll get that welded in, and then we're going to move on to our fenders, get our fenders roughed in and ready for bodywork. After all of that, stay tuned to the end of the video. We're going to get back on that 350Z. We're going to drill off our new panels. Remember, we got our new piece now from the salvage yard. We want to drill off those new panels, get that frame rail out of there. So stay tuned to the end of the video, and we'll get back on that 350Z. I know a lot of you guys have been wondering what's going on with that. So stay tuned to the end. All right, hey everybody. We're continuing on with the Mustang build or rebuild. We're going to go in here and kind of fine tune some of this, get out some of these waves, some of these low spots here and in here. Got this one over here. We're going to try to work some of that out. We've gone through, we've done some of our measurements, compared them to the other car that wasn't wrecked. Everything's measuring out fine. We did some cross measurements. It's square. We just got a few little things we just want to get out. We don't want to leave any of this in here. So I'm going to kind of work some of the paint off. We'll get our stud gun in here, see if we can't pull it with that. If that's not stout enough, we will try something else. So here we go. Pretty good. Here's our low areas, right in here and right in here, right around in there, and then out here we're flat. This is what we want all of this to look like. Through here we're low, so we'll try to get that pulled out. And right here in this little area here, I'm not liking that. I want to get some of that pulled out, get this worked a little flatter so it's more like this side. And then this here and this right here. After that, man, we're just about good. We'll get in here, kind of fine tune some of this, and look over here, you'll see this one's still in a little bit. We'll tweak that out, and the worst of it will be over at that point. All right, I'm gonna weld, need some little tabs on here. All I got is these bolts, just some stuff I had in the scrap bin. I just kind of ground them down a little bit, made them nice and shiny. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna weld them to this radiator support in the low spots, and then we'll hook our clamp to it and we'll be able to pull these right out, no problem. We'll do that in all these low spots. Got the clamp hooked up. Let's see if it'll pull out. I'm gonna put a little pressure on it, and then I'm gonna tap it with a hammer. You can already see where it's coming out. See where that gets us. Alright, we got our low spot out. We're done with this. We're just going to cut it off, grind it smooth. You'll never know it was ever there. And hey, while we're on the subject, some of you young guys getting into this, that you don't have a lot of experience with it, don't be dumb like me. Leave the guards on your grinders. Wear your face shields. In fact, I'm going to go grab a face shield right now. I'm going to start using my face shield as well. Start setting a better example. I don't know if you noticed, but when my boys are out here, they're not allowed to ever run this without a face shield on. It ain't happening. So I'm going to practice doing a little bit better on that kind of stuff, because I got a few comments, and you know what? They're right. I should be setting a good example and protecting my mug. I mean, look at this thing. Would you want a freaking grinding blade in this? I mean, seriously. No, I'm just playing. Anyway, I got to go get my face shield. I'm going to knock that off. I'm not going to make a whole video about straightening this. We already did that. I'm going to go through, fine tune this off camera. We'll bring y'all back, let you see the end result, and then we're going to move on to the fenders on this one. Keep working my way on down until it's done. Alright, just to kind of show you guys how easy some of this stuff pulls out. I don't even really need the puller on a lot of this. I mean, we've got our shape good. Everything's where it needs to be. We're just working out these little low spots. So I'm just kind of welding me a little bolt onto there and right down in the low spot. I've got a dent puller that I have welded to a pair of vice grips. And man, this thing works pretty good. Check it out. Just sit here and just tap these things out. Hold a little pressure on it. Come back in and kind of tap around it. And the low spot comes right out. Remember how it was real low right in here? It kind of had a little wrinkle almost. It was high on both sides and low right here in the middle. It's all coming out nice. Been in here kind of working on it still. I think we got it pretty smooth out, man. I mean, look at that, nice and smooth. Remember how this was kind of low in through here? It's all back out now. All of that's back out. This over here, this is all back out now. All right, so I've got our weld stitched back together up inside of here. That's all banged out really nice. It actually looks pretty decent. I'm gonna go with it. We're gonna send it. So I got some acid etch primer here. Since there is some bare metal up inside of there, we're gonna hit it with a light coat of this. You let that dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll actually put some color inside of there. like it used to have. See, it used to have color in there, so we're gonna go back with the way it was. All right, we'll let that dry for a little bit and then we'll put some yellow on. Alright, so we got it all covered up now. Nothing's going to rust inside of there. Kind of went a little bit of an overspray look, kind of from factory. I think it'll be good enough. Now we get in here and weld our piece back in. We'll get all this aligned back up, get some few welds on it, and then we'll weld it up solid. About got it all welded back together. I just kind of come through and I stitch it together, and then I'll come back in and connect my stitch welds. Just kind of go, just skip around, you know, inch here, inch there, until it's all welded back in solid. You don't want to weld too much in one area. You want to kind of skip around. And that's what I've been doing. I just kind of weld a little, grind a little, skip over here, weld a little, grind a little, until it's all done. So we're getting there. Alright, so we've got our piece welded back in. We've got everything smoothed up. I'm going to call this core support good. And next step will be prepping it for paint. But I'm going to pull off of that for a little bit and let's see if we can't get these fenders straightened out. Got the fenders over there. We're going to get them on here and get them straightened out and do some body work. Alright, we're going to attempt to save this fender. This is the driver's side fender. This was the worst one. The whole end of it is just rolled completely under. Not sure if any of you guys seen this in the earlier videos, but I mean, that's what we're dealing with. The whole end of the fender is rolled completely under. We're going to try to save it. Let's see what we can do. So at this point, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take it back off so I can really get on the back side of there. I've kind of got it roughed in at this point. We got it folded back out. Of course, we got to get in there and fix that. This is really low, and look, the edge is completely gone. It's rolled all the way underneath. So I want to get to the back side of that really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the fender back off and kind of work that out a little bit more. This is what I'm talking about. We got it roughed in, but you can see this is still really, it's all low. So now that we got it back off the car, got it over here on the stand, we'll be able to work it a little bit better. We're gonna get this edge, get that all rolled back out nice and straight. We wanna get it as close as possible. That way we don't have to use a lot of filler. So I'm gonna get started on that now. Basically, I'm holding a hammer on the back side as a dolly, hitting this right here, and we're just ironing that out. That was our crease. That's where this thing was folded under. It's coming out real nice. We'll try to roll that edge out with these. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, I like that. This edge is a little low, so we'll do something with that. We might have to run a weld down through there and kind of build that up a little bit. No big deal though. There's no real way to know if we have this right. You know, putting it back on the car and hanging the hood. And unfortunately, this is not the right hood. Wasn't sure if this was going to work or not, and sure enough, it's not going to. Because I need to know exactly where that edge of that fender needs to be, and I can't do that without a hood. Keep banging away on these panels until we get them just as close as we possibly can, because I can't stress enough, we don't want to use a lot of filler. So that's where we're at, and that's what we're going to do now. We've gone just about as far as we can go on this until we get a hood. We don't want to paint any of this until we are without a doubt everything is exactly where it needs to be. The only way I can do that is I got to build this thing. So I've got to be able, I got to throw my header panel in it, put the headlights in it, put a hood on it, put the bumper, completely build the outside of this car. Once everything's lined up perfectly, we will go ahead and do the filler work on the fenders themselves, and then we will come in and we'll actually paint this and then put our radiator and our condenser and all that kind of stuff back in the car and move on to just doing the outside, which is going to consist of the front fenders, a hood, and the bumper. We'll blend these fenders so that we don't have to mess with the doors and keep it isolated to just front end only. We will be doing a two-stage paint job on this one. So it'll be a base coat with a clear coat on top. But like I said, we've gone as far as we could go on this one for now. I think we're gonna get back on the 350Z. Let's get it back in here and let's drill off our new panels. Let's get our frame rail and everything ready to come off of our new piece that we picked up from the salvage yard and have it, we'll trim it up, get it ready to go into that 350Z. All right, we're gonna lift this up off the ground and see if we can't get underneath it and drill out some of these spot welds from the frame rail. So we got to get this gas door open, but obviously we don't have any power to the car, and it's electric. So basically I just cut the plug off. Got two wires, black and a purple. You can do this with a jump box. I'm going to use my battery charger, but you can use a jump box. It works just as good. We're going to hook this up, black on black. And then we're going to hit the wire. It's a neat little trick. You can do the same thing on like power windows and stuff if you ever need to take a door apart and you don't have any power to the car, no battery, whatever. A lot of times you could just hook this up to the wires. One way will go up, switch it over, the other way will go down. All right, we've got it up in the air. I've been underneath it working a little bit. Basically what I'm doing, get this lighting right. Basically what I'm doing is I'm drilling off this piece here. This is kind of the outer layer. We'll get this out of the way. And here's our rail. So once this is out of the way, we'll be able to get up in the rail, see how it's all attached, and see exactly how we're gonna pull this all apart. Hey, check this out, you guys. Some of you guys are always asking me about the tools. I got a Cornwell die grinder, also known as a muffler cutter, whatever you want to call it. But what's cool about this, it's reversible. So if you're in here working and your sparks are going up one direction and you'd rather them go another direction, you can actually turn the dial and it'll spin the opposite direction. Pretty cool little deal. There's a part number. Anybody ever wants to get you one of these, I'm sure there's other brands that are probably cheaper that work just as well, but there's that one there. I believe it was a little over $100 if I remember right, but man, this thing is really cool. I like being able to switch directions with the sparks sometimes. Sometimes it's necessary, and I'm not endorsed by them at all, sponsored or anything. I come across a good tool, feel like I should pass it along to you guys. All right, everybody, we got the first piece out. Let's see, it was this one right here. Kind of went up in there like that. We'll save that. That's got to go back in. Now we're going to drill off this layer, which, as you can see, I think you can see, let's see. It lays right on top of there, right there. So we'll go in, drill out these spot welds, and get that piece off now. And we'll just keep going one piece at a time until we've got everything we need. All right, that's our frame rail. That's what we're eating. What was squished on the other car. So awesome. What piece? What is that? Piece number 3. We went ahead and took it all out as one piece so we'd have a little bit less welding. We won't have to worry about this pocket, this taillight pocket and things like that, trying to line up all three of these pieces. So that'll make it a little bit easier. Of course, we still got to do the floor. We're going to go ahead and take the floor out. You remember we cut the floor out of the other Z. We're going to take this corner piece as well. You've seen earlier we cut the whole, the whole frame section out. So we're going to go back with all new pieces. This thing's going to be nice and straight when we're done. I appreciate you guys for watching. The way I'm going to do the videos, I think, is instead of doing one video per car for each individual car, I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit of each car on each video. That way you guys are always caught up on these builds. Give me a comment. Tell me what you want. Tell me, is that a good idea or what? Sorry about that, you guys. My battery went dead. Like I was saying, I think I'm going to put a little bit of each car on each video. You guys leave me a comment. Tell me if you think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea because it'll keep you guys posted on the progress of all the cars all the time. I get a lot of comments all the time about, hey, what happened to the 350Z? And it's like, well, this way you would know what's going on all the builds. And we're going to get the Harley truck in there as well. And we just kind of keep just rotating through and put a little bit on each video. You guys tell me what you think. As always, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys watching. And you guys can catch me on the next one. See ya.